Welcome to GoSimcha, the podcast that takes you on an in-depth approach to the Jewish music, entertainment, and simcha world. Now, here's your host, Zeesha Littman. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of GoSimcha, the podcast. We're kicking off again season 3 here, which is really cool. We've done 3 seasons, which means we're really relevant. It's so much so that I've been getting a lot of emails from people asking me, hey, where's the podcast? Why haven't you done it in a while? And to that I reply, we're in the works. We're switching it up a little bit, doing some cool things. And speaking of cool things and cool people, this week we have a really good friend of mine on the show. Happens to be also local here in Israel, and he is an up-and-coming sensation in the Jewish music world. His own brother says it's the best Jewish music he's ever listened to, and it really is good stuff.
Totally unbiased.
Totally unbiased. So I'm sitting here with the Heilige artist known as Benoni. His real name is actually Shmuel Stenge, but exactly, metal on. And we're sitting here with Benoni today, sitting down and talking with him, getting to know his story, going behind the scenes a little bit with him. And at the end, we're going to have a little special concert because now we can do the whole music thing. So rock on. So dude, welcome to the show. Welcome to GoSimcha, the podcast. How you doing?
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm doing well. It's an honor. You've had a lot of great artists on this podcast, so I'm very I'm honored to be joining you. You're doing good.
Baruch Hashem. Well, listen, we're all about music. We're all about good music, and your stuff happens to be really good. I like it a lot, and I was sitting there listening to your stuff on Spotify. You can find him on Spotify. Search Beinoni. And I was like, this dude's like the Jewish Linkin Park, at least one of your songs. And
yeah,
and I was kind of like, but he's more than Mike Shinoda for anybody who knows Linkin Park, not the Chester. But that's okay. But like your music, yeah, I went there. But your music,
Chester, that's a very high. Both of them are very setting a very high bar. So
right?
Yeah.
But like your music in general,
not that much competition for Linkin Park influence.
Fair enough. But like your music in general, though, it has so many different sounds to it. But before we get into that, what's your story? Like, what's your deal? How'd you get into music?
That's a great question. My story. I guess I've always had a very strong love for music, and I guess I just want to preface this by saying that this is like kind of officially my first media appearance. So thank you for that, and I'm sorry if I'm a little bit rusty and saying
No, you're
these
cool.
things over. I usually just let the music do the talking for me, and you know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so I grew up, always listening to music and always, loving music, whether it was like, stuff that my father was playing, like Billy Joel and the Beatles and schlock rock, to like, Miami Boys Choir, and I sang in a choir as a kid. I didn't know how far you wanted me to go back.
You can go back as far as it goes. Get your roots, man. Our show.
In the womb, I distinctly remember in the womb, my mother playing Tchaikovsky in this hat, or Link, something like that. No, that's too old. But yeah, so I grew up, listening to always a bunch of different influences, and different sounds coming in. And I was a drummer in high school. I played with a couple of different bands and a couple of different events through high school and through college and yeshiva as well. I was in part of the Yeshiva Har Tzion Purim band. What's up, all you gushers out there? Represent. And that was fun. So I was always involved in music, playing music in some capacity. I started playing guitar and writing songs, when I was, I guess, a senior in high school. Before that, I was just drums and just kind of like, just messing around. And it just kind of like slowly evolved from there. I just always had a desire to make music. And I mean, there was a tipping point later on, like a few years ago, which is like a different experience that I could talk about if you want, that really kind of pushed me more into like recording and kind of manifesting dreams that I had as far as making music for a long time. And should I go there now to
Yeah,
that particular stage? Because I'm jumping
sure.
all the way from the womb to like my late 30s.
Hey,
So I don't know.
hey,
I don't know
man.
if
Our
I'm
our our show. We like to go behind the scenes, get into the kishka of it. So, you share all you want because this is what they pay me the big bucks for.
okay. Okay, cool. Doing a great job. Um, yeah, so I always had a strong connection to music and was always playing music informally, and I always wanted to make songs. I kind of always knew that I had it in me, but I really didn't know how to get started or what to do, and like there was always this huge block. And then 5 years ago, I went to Uman for Rosh Hashanah for the first time, which was also something that I always wanted to do and I never really, for one reason or another, never took the plunge. And I was living in Ramat Beit Shemesh Gimel at the time, and had a lot of people, good friends, good people, like kind of pushing me to make the decision to go. And I went, and it was a phenomenal experience, a life-changing experience. And there were a bunch of different events, series of events happened after that, including an experience in Meron by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, which we just celebrated Lag BaOmer. So it's kind of an apropos time, a very, very powerful experience as well there that year. And really, connecting to Rabbi Nachman very deeply, connecting to the tzaddikim very deeply. But that year was right after, I guess, a week after Lag BaOmer. I was in the studio, my friend's studio in Ramat Beit Shemesh Gimel, his bomb shelter / studio, cutting a track, which it was nothing to write home about, but it was a big step for me to actually like take all the energies that I had going inside me and just like, get into a room and decide, hey, we're going to make something. I don't care what comes out of it, but I'm just deciding that I'm going to try to make something, And then one thing led to another, and it just became kind of addictive to me. Like I just love the process of making music, and of creating. And yeah, I'm getting emotional talking about it because it's really, I really love doing it. And one thing and then now I'm sitting here now talking to you, and I think I've recorded maybe like I want to say 8 or 9 songs that I have on Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that. And
Wow,
Sony Records not necessarily knocking down at my door, but
that's
I
okay.
feel good about what I feel good about what I've made up until this point.
Baruch Hashem. That's totally
Yeah,
cool
Baruch
too.
Hashem.
But like, see your
Yeah.
music. I like your music a lot because each song it seems like has a different theme to it, and each song seems to have a different sound to it as well. And you're unique and cool. Where you like cool is a relative term, but like you're unique when the fact that you can fuse that rap, those beats, that rap in there, along with the guitars and everything like that, and your sounds, they're just very inspiring. And I think that's part of the skill of what you do in your music, and that's really part of infusing yourself in the kedusha and throwing that into your music as well. Would you agree? Because like it's your music is very inspiring. Every single word, and it seems it's all real too. Like I can tell that every single word you wrote, every single line you composed, it's all real. It's all from the heart, and it's dope.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's coming from a real place, and I think a lot of the variety that you hear in the music, like you were referencing before, like the Linkin Park sounding tune, which I love, and a lot of people really like that song. It's called Closer. Um, I have that, and then I have a couple of like acoustic songs that are like very mellow, and I think you know maybe some people would like, okay, I'm just gonna stick to this tune or whatever. But to be honest, it's not planned out. I'm just kind of, I guess, exploring different things and kind of trying to find my voice. And a lot of it also comes from the fact that I exposed to so many different influences, and I like Linkin Park, and I like Jack Johnson, and
Right.
I like Shlomo Karlach, and and I grew up listening to 90s alternative, and then Maskell came along, and that was very influential for me. So, and then also, you mentioned, where where Yiddishkeit comes in kedusha. I mean, that's also I'm also very much I don't know I don't know where you draw the line of like what's Jewish music and what's not.
Well,
I just try to make things that I feel are good and real,
well,
like you said.
that's a question I always ask every one of my guests, because each one of my guests are different and unique in their own genres of music, and
Baruch Shekivanti. Baruch Shekivanti.
yeah, and some I've gotten some good answers, but one of them really stood out in my mind, is that there's really in music there's really no kedushim when it comes to the music. It's just a matter of how we inject our kedusha into the tunes, like old school Hasidic nigunim that we hear. They're music from the older centuries, from the class. It's classical music. It's just the Rebbe injected his kedusha and his kavanas into the tunes. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with this. You're
Yeah, I'll tell you.
yeah.
If you're gonna talk about Hasidic Nigunim, like I believe in that it could be that my soul of souls, like my inner essence, just wants to sing the Hasidic Nigunim. You know what I'm saying? It just wants
Right.
to vibe out on like very, very holy stuff.
Right.
But what can you do? Like God placed my my chelek elokam imal, that my soul, which is a piece of God, into this crazy world, amongst all these different influences. And so I kind of gave me certain kalim, certain abilities to translate that and maybe to infuse it with a little bit of that soul essence, So
Yeah. Because
really, it's a mashup. It's a mashup.
Yeah. No, it's true. Because everything in this world has a purpose to it, and we're always trying to search for the sparks of kedusha within everything. So all this stuff has a purpose, and if we can take these sounds that and use them and inject our kedusha into it, inject the holy words of Torahs into them, and enhance them for people, it could have tremendous influence on them. It could have tremendous, and you never know who you're going to influence with your tunes. And that's really one of the, I think that's why I find your stuff like so powerful, because again, not only is it like really raw and real, like you can feel the emotion in there, like you can feel the geschmack and the brand within that, but like it just sounds good, it just sounds good. And listen,
Thanks, bro.
there's
Shout
not
out to the producers that I worked with.
well, there you go.
Make it sound good.
But when it comes to your music, I mean, let's talk about your name. I mean, like the name Benoni. I think it's very befitting for you, and also since the way you described how you got to this point in your music career and the influence and everything, I find it very interesting that you decided to go with the name Benoni. You want to explain to our listeners how you became Benoni? Maybe some of them
I
even
was
know.
gonna say,
Maybe some of them even understand the concept. You never know.
okay, cool. So, uh, I have a bunch of different ways, but thank you for asking this question because not many people do. Like I live in, I live in Israel here in Beit Shemesh, like you,
Yeah.
Zeesha. So, if I tell Israelis that my name is Benoni, they're like, Benoni, lama lo tzaddik, lama lo aluf,
Chalavaya
Benoni.
Beinoni. Chalavaya Beinoni.
Yeah, right. Nice halavai. I want to be able to. I don't, not everybody hops.
Right.
But yeah. So Benoni is like the hero, in Chabad literature and in the book, the magnum opus of the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, known colloquially as Sefer Tanya, but it's also called Sefer Benoni. The other name for Tanya is Sefer Benoni. And just on one foot here, a Benoni is somebody that that the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, characterizes as somebody who who never basically he or she, they're always in a fight, they're always in a war with the evil inclination, but they never lose. But unlike a tzaddik, which has managed to eradicate the evil from the midst of their heart, the pasuk that the Alter Rebbe brings is Chala libi b'kirbi, I think, from Tehillim, that the Chala libi, like there's the empty space in my heart, because David HaMelech was saying that I reached this level of tzaddik where I eradicated the evil from my heart. And so that's a tzaddik. But a Benoni is somebody who didn't succeed in doing that, and but nevertheless, he or she, they're up to the challenge, and they're always successful. They're always successful in that fight, and they always know how to fight. So I guess that that's, Hasidus Chabad has been definitely a huge source of life for me, and inspiration and strength and chizuk. And I don't know, that name just spoke to me. We were thinking about a bunch of different things when I was putting out the first song that I did, the first video. My friend and I, who produced the first song, shout out Yosef Hutner. We were like bouncing around a few different names, and like, because we're talking about like this kind of character that sort of bridges a lot of different worlds, and is sort of like, yeah, just sort of like in between a lot of stuff. And so we were thinking about kind of English variations on it, and then I guess we just said, okay, why don't we just settle on Beinoni, and it stuck, just because of, I guess, the Chabad influences that I have, and yeah.
Well, it makes sense because your music kind of crosses a number of different genres, and your lyrics cross a number of different things and touch on a number of different points, and even more so, like one of your latest songs, Rebel, it touches on those themes. You're trying to be the hero. You're trying to, you're fighting the good fight there. And I think that it's very befitting, and I think it works very well for you.
Cool. Yeah. That's actually a good. It's a good reference point, that song, because it's definitely. I guess the hook of the song is, I'm a rebel in the rubble. The rubble kind of representing the fact that we're sort of constantly bombarded with different challenges and temptations, and just like seeming randomness, and then you're trying to be the rebel and like move against the stream. I guess that
Right.
was kind of, I was thinking, just moving against the stream of things, and that's exactly what the Benoni is. You're right.
Ah, it's really cool. Now, how'd you get those mad rap skills?
I feel like this is an answer I should be rapping.
You should be rapping it. Let's spit your flow there. I've been noticing a lot of white people rapping lately, and they're quite good. I told you, my good friend Mr. Pasha Terenstein, his flow is sick, and So how did you become this nice white Jewish rapper?
Maybe, yeah.
Throw in Canadian too, even too.
I know. I don't know, man. You know who the first white rapper I ever heard was?
Who?
Bob Dylan, aka Robert Zimmerman.
Well, there you go.
I always liked poetry and words, and rhythms and beats, and I think the first time that I dropped a rap, I'll tell you a story. One time I somebody asked me. I guess I was like kind of in like dropping different poems or rhymes around town in Montreal back when I was in university at different events and stuff like that, and freestyles. And like my friend asked me like one time, like my first kind of public appearance doing like a rap was, there was this like in McGill University, this like kind of like meeting between the Hillel group, like an event, an evening with the Hillel group and like the Muslim Students Association, to kind of sort of have like a night of kind of like dialogue, I guess. And my friend, who was like one of the machers at Hillel at the time, he asked me to create like just to write something, to write a spoken word jam or a rap. And I ended up doing it, and it ended up being like this 3-4 minute, I think it was like a 4-minute spoken word thing about like Israel and peace and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't have it anymore, but it was good, and it was, thank God, if people liked it, and I don't know, it's just one thing led after one thing after another, and
Awesome.
I don't think I have such amazing rap skills. If I've been rambling in my answers, I'm sorry.
No, you're
That's basically,
fine. You're totally
yeah.
fine. We're having
Bob
fun.
Dylan, Bob Dylan, Hillel Muslim Student Association night, Eminem, Matisiao, and 21 Pilots. Those are the
There you go.
five
There
ways
you go.
I built
There you
built
go.
up my
Nice.
rapping style. Yeah,
Nice. No, but it's cool because that's what I'm saying. Like, it's cool. Rap has become something cool in the Jewish world. Like, I think
yeah.
Matisyahu kind
Shout
of.
out Ethan Black.
Well, he wasn't really the first one. You know, you have you had. I actually had him on my show a couple weeks ago. I had Love. It's Jordan on my
Oh,
show.
really,
Yeah,
dude?
I
Yeah,
had.
that guy,
So
sick. I, I actually like did a freestyle with him like way back in the day,
yeah.
and it was great.
He was on my show a couple weeks back. He's one of the OGs of the Jewish rap scene. Him
That's sick.
and Describe, another fellow Lubavitcher out in Kfar Chabad. I think Schneider's out in Kfar
Yeah,
Chabad.
I was very inspired when Y Love hit the scene. Very inspired.
Yeah,
That was kind of the same kufa as like early Matisiao and Y Love, and
yeah. So
yeah, very
he told
very
me the whole
inspiring.
story. They were actually, he said that when Matisyahu came out on the scene, he got signed to a record label and he was working with another one. They wanted to sign him and he said he wants to keep himself underground, and he did. And Matisyahu went Matisyahu, but Wilo said he's cool doing this thing, and so he was one of the first Jewish rappers. And then like this whole like phenomenon with adding like guitars and stuff, like you got Star and those
Star.
guys. It's cool, it's like raps
What
like
about wait? Who was the first Jewish rapper though?
um
There's like a disc out there called Black Attitude.
oh yeah, Black Attitude. He it's funny because one of those guys was my mashgiach in yeshiva, and
Right.
there's Black Attitude, but the original, if you want to go back,
Yeah.
you
Take
got
us back.
you got
Recently.
Eitan G. You got Eitan G, who was with Schlock Rock. He
I
used
never
to
heard
be a
that.
hype man for Lenny Solomon. You don't remember Eitan G?
No,
Make it a motzi. Make it a motzi. You don't remember that song?
I don't remember.
Eitan G. He was like one of the.
Okay, I gotta look it up.
He was
Shout
like
out
one.
Ethan G.
We're just talking rap here, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
but it's cool. But like I love your flows, man. Your flows, like your beats. You're on with the points. And I think part of being a drummer, it helps you with the rap, with the rap and keeping the beat and keeping the words per minute and the beats.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I really love rapping. I love the genre. The genre. I don't know why. I just really do. I guess like I said, I gravitate to words and poetry, and it's really like kind of our generation
For sure.
poetry,
So
and yeah.
no, for sure. Now, what out of all the songs you've written and produced, what would you say is your favorite one?
My favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my favorite song is the one that I just finished. That's
Really?
always the case. Yeah, no matter what, because it's so exciting to bring something new into the world that wasn't there before. Like that always that always makes me very very. I guess it makes me feel close to Hashem. You know, just to have made something. It's not yesh ma'ayin, it's yesh yesh.
Right.
But that feeling of like bringing something new to the world is always, and like I'm excited about it. And we hear all the different stages that and I listen to it. Yeah, sorry, you wanted to say something?
No, I'm just happy. I'm happy hearing you, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, like I listen to it in the car with my kids, and my kids get excited about it, and all the different stages of making it. Always, whatever I'm working on right now is my favorite tune. I guess overall, like if you ask me, like what's the favorite song that I made, I guess I'll have to say that there's two. I guess say I'll give like one that's more. I put it as a song, I guess, like almost a year ago now, or 7 months ago. It's called Deep Roots, which
Yeah.
yeah, there's something there in that song that you know I don't know how many people have heard it, but there's something in that song where I felt I worked on it for a really long time, and it had a bunch of different iterations, and and um the message. It was one of the songs where I felt it had a really kind of like a clear message that a lot of people could resonate to, and the sound of the song. I worked on it with another local producer. There's so much local talent here in Beit Shemesh and Ramat Beit Shemesh. I worked on it with a really awesome, talented guy named Yehuda Zaitim,
Mm.
and the final sounds, the final mix together, and it's just a machaya, it's a machaya to listen to. And I also had help. I had help from family to produce it. So that one was really good. That, in terms of like my electric stuff, like that's one really stands out. And then in terms of like acoustic stuff that I've done, obviously that's the song that I made about going to Uman. And the reason that I like it, and the reason that the reason that I like it, and a lot of people like kind of hear the first couple lines of the song. To all you Benoni initiates out there that haven't heard any of my songs yet, the first line of the song, I'm not ashamed, it says, "Get yourself on a plane, even if it drives your wife insane, Uman Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine." So maybe people that are hearing this that are against, like they would think, and I've gotten comments, "Oh, how could you say that, even if it drives your wife insane?" So there's like some haters on that song, but like I have really good friends, and even like people tell me like how inspiring that song is for them. And once, like, I was in Uman a couple of years ago, and I was like, whatever. I wasn't in the best of spirits, but then this guy that a friend of mine, he was like, I got here, and you should know I was like, when I got here, the first thing I did is put that song in my phone, on my earphones, and I walked to the Tzion, I walked to the Rebbe, and like that song gave me so much chizuk. When a lot of my friends and a lot of people have told me that song that really sticks with them, and people have told me that even Rabbi, I don't want to. I have a friend who worked closely with Rav Chaim Kramer, who was who's a very well-known Rav in the Breslov world, and my friends, shout out Ellie, who works in his office, told me that sometimes Rav Kramer even listens to that song. So it's my favorite song because I've got zero. Zeesha, seriously, I've got zero street cred in the Breslov world. Zero. Like, I am the most non-Breslover possible. However, that song is like kind of like my in.
That's your golden ticket to the Breslovers. You should
Nobody knows it's me, but there you go.
You got to write a follow-up song about the Ohel neck.
Yeah, except I haven't been there in a long time, and I was supposed to. I have a mandate to write a new song about going to Uman this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well,
given the current situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, as I was saying to somebody the other day, the real diehards will jump in the ocean and start swimming there if they have to. But first, they have to figure out how to get to Haifa.
Exactly.
But
that would be quite a triathlon.
That would be quite the triathlon. Swim to Ukraine, run, jump, and swim, and dodge the bombs down.
Reb Nosson from Breslov said that if he had to, he'd crawl on his hands and knees on glass to get to Uman for Rosh Hashanah. So, so what's the little seawater?
Exactly. We'll see what happens. No, but it's cool, man. That's really cool that you have that in, and it's cool. But that's the whole point of the music. That's the whole point why we do this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a musician. I'm not as cool as you. I mean, I don't write songs. I like to play music. I almost got kicked out of my office one time because I was playing my guitar real loud, and the guy who runs the office was telling me the guy next door is telling you not to play the guitar so loud. It got to the point, actually, where I was jamming in my office one time, and the guy next door decided to just soundproof his entire office because he didn't like that we were jamming. But I like to jam. I love to have fun. I play 5 different instruments, and the music, like music, it just gives you such a geschmack. It just gives you so much energy. And if you go out there and you do this, and like this, I talk about this, all the other guys who come on my show too, like they get so elated when people come up to them and tell them, "Man, I listened to your song. It gave me such chizik. It pulled me out of a place, X, Y, and Z." Like I had Joey Newcomb on my show like about a year ago, and he was telling me.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I met him a few months ago.
Yeah, he's fun. Joey's a good guy, and he was telling me how great
guitar player.
Oh yeah, and he was telling me how he has this one song that he put out, like it's about Yom Kippur. It's about like this whole everything, And he said some guy, like, he was like really down on Yom Kippur, and like he was like really bummed out. And he listened to that song before Yom Kippur, and he came to him after. He called him up. He's like, man, I just listened to your song, and it really picked me up. It really brought me to a new level. And that's what music's all about, you know. Music is is a very special kli, and it has the power to take us up, and it has the power to bring us down. And I think that, which, you know, the fact that you're just doing this so lishma, you know, it really shows.
Thanks, man. I totally hear that. Music is definitely a powerful koach. I guess I have a lot to say in response to that, and I appreciate the kind words. I don't know if you could, you know, I think that I'm making music, or the music that I made is because I felt like I have to do it. If it inspires somebody along the way, then amazing. Um, I have to, you know, I have to say that for me, although music is a very strong, obviously, you know, big thing in my life, I wouldn't say that. I would say that categorically, you know, maybe categorically that Torah learning is much more important and has a much
Yeah.
stronger and better effect on my neshama than music. Like I could go days without playing music or writing music, but I can't go one day at this point without sitting down and learning you know, some Gemara or something. Um,
Nice.
so I don't really know. I have a dream to always just be learning Torah and playing music and creating music. Could be just because I love it so much, and if other people love it too, and other people get a chizuk from it, and like my friend in Uman who was saying that he got chizuk, like people hearing that song, get yourself, and like whatever other people, I'm not going to mention their names, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, people get a geschmack, and they want to hear, like, you know, kind of tunes that are, you know, that are, I guess, have a holy bent or holy leaning. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, it, like, again, it's really, I don't have any explanation for it. I don't know if it's, you know, music is a beautiful thing. It's one of the great gifts that Hashem gave to us. Like, I will tell you, I guess one thing that what you said, like, I used to be into like jamming out and playing with my friends, and like, you know, just kind of, you know, playing music, and I'd love to do that, and it's amazing. But now I'm like very toughless. Like, I don't like, nothing is more gives me more joy than to just go into the recording studio and make something. And I think if there's anybody listening to the podcast, if there's one good thing that I can contribute here as a message, if there's anybody here listening to this, probably maybe that there are, because your fans are probably people that love music and gravitate to it. And if there's anybody here that's thinking about making music and thinking about, they don't know what to do, should I go to a recording studio? Should I make something? I want to give you chizuk and say categorically, yes, you should go. Jamming is not enough. And maybe this is good for you also, Zeesha. Jamming is not enough, but really take the time and make the investment to go and record something and make something topless and put it up on Spotify, put it up on YouTube, because you never know. Once you do that, you're bringing something, you're making birurim, you know, you're making clarifications, you're bringing something from, you know, you're bringing chidush Torah into the world that couldn't have happened without you, you know, whoever is listening to this, or talking to myself as well, without you going in and like making that effort. So I think
I like it.
Hashem wants that. I think Hashem wants people to create things, especially people who have a longing for godliness and for spirituality, and for there's so many minias, you know, a guy, you know, people putting out like the trashiest music. There's no minias to that. Like,
Nope.
that happens easily, you know, because there isn't so much to'elis in terms of the world, in terms of doing that. The people that want to put out good, like, spiritual music,
Yeah.
from my experience, a lot of times there's a lot of barriers, but I want to just, you know, shout out to all the people that want to make music, and blessing you to overcome the barriers and just make it, make it happen. Just find a way, and
I like
just
it.
start, you know, just
I
start with
like it.
whatever.
I like
Yeah.
it.
The first song that I recorded was so bad, so bad. It was terrible,
Hey, listen,
but it
you
was
know,
a song, you know, it was a song, and it didn't exist before.
Listen, you gotta lay the foundations in order to build the infrastructure. Once you lay,
You gotta walk before you crawl.
exactly. See, now you've inspired me. Now I'm gonna come into the studio. I'm gonna record an album. I'm gonna call it Zeesha. So when people look on Spotify, they're gonna see Zusha and Zeesha.
And then you'll go on the GoSimcha podcast.
Exactly.
Interview yourself.
Exactly. I will interview myself. All right. Well, now we're actually going to start. It was cool, Shmuel. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I really learned a lot from you. And as promised, you said you're going to give us over a little jam sesh. So I'm looking forward to that. So let's hit that. What are we playing today?
All right. We're gonna be playing a song. I guess we mentioned a song called "Closer," which was I guess the second song that I put out.
Nice.
This is like an acoustic version.
Nice.
GoSimcha's podcast. GoSimcha's the podcast exclusive acoustic version of "Closer."
I feel so honored.
Hope you guys enjoy. Hold this truth to be self-evident. Apparently, I'm a long-awaited experiment sent to the world to accumulate merit and communicate poetics about my storied inheritance, like messages buried deeply in the snow, melting everything I know to let the new ideas flow. But I can't control the extra load of external thoughts I will explode, of course, avoiding all the chores that only mine and mine alone. Full stop. In my head, all is dark now. I can see voices speaking in my head. He said, it's closer than you think, like a wave to the shore, floating on a ship, coming into port, and there's no time to waste. You don't have to stop, for we learn to walk, everyone must crawl. Who am I if I'm not doing in a world of action? My mission is like pollution, I know that now. It's in hindsight, I'm using illuminating while eliminating possible solutions. Most are shallow and know it should go deeper like a sleep. The ages sign on the living for the reaper. And while I try to excavate the moving parts and integrate, I feel there is a gnawing doubt or shout to let me run away. But what you can do it inside you, always doing enough to prove it to yourself. Always had it, never blew it. Everybody has a mission, like an instrument of music. Inhibitions in the rear view. Step on the gas and lose it. Voices speaking in my head. He said, it's closer than you think, like a wave to the shore, floating on a ship, coming into port, and there's no time to waste. You don't have to stop, for we learn to walk, everyone must crawl. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Too big to see from so close. Gotta get a vision from a higher source. Things that show me how to take control. Gotta shed my body from the sea, my goal. Too big to see from so close. Gotta get a vision from a higher source. He was there to show me how to take control. Gotta shed my body from the sea, my coast. It's closer than you think, like a way to the shore, floating on a ship, coming into port, and there's no time to waste. You don't have to stop, but we learn to walk, everyone must come. It's closer than you think, like a way to the shore, floating on a ship, coming into port. And there's no time to waste. You don't have to stop before we learn to walk. Everyone must go.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Call a vote.
Thanks, dude.
You wanna treat everybody to your Uman song?
play the Uman song?
Play the Uman song.
I guess I referenced it a bunch of times, huh?
Play the Uman song. I love it.
Okay. By the way, I just want to say that song, originally the words for the chorus were Ki karov elecha davar ma'od, b'ficha u'v'levavcha l'asleso, which is like the line that, that the Sefer Beinonim is kind of, that's like the central pasuk that the whole thing is based on. So that was the original, that was kind of like the machshava behind the ma'aseh over there. Okay. Uman?
Uman.
How do we go? Get yourself on a plane. Even if it drives you wild insane. Uman Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine. In the end. It's been a long year, but I can see light. I'm all stressed, built up like a stalactite. I tend to hold tight when I should let go. Light is at midnight, lands at 3:45. I'm in an old world, I turn a new page. Picked up on my side curls to get my head straight. But I can't do it alone, now I'm made. Forgive and take a spot whenever will come around. You're always gonna hear me say, get yourself on a plane. Even if it drive you wild insane. Uman Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine. In the end, she'll be so glad you came. So come on, oh my brother, join along. Doesn't matter if you've done right or wrong. You know you need the time to stay strong. Let the baby help you find your soul. We are united, we are uplifted. Seen by Rabbeinu, feeling so gifted. Yeah, we went the distance, battled all resistance. To say the typical spiritual fix it. And we know he listens when we bare our soul. Gonna turn you on to this, it's obviously dope. Less about flying high than shining light below. But keep it rock so, but keep it show. And before you go, think about the CEO, feeling so at peace cause we got big shoulders to lean on. We out of darkness, make me a believe. So deep, so long, you can't go wrong, now let me hear ya. Get yourself on a plane. Even if it drives you wild insane. Uman Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine. In the end, she'll be glad you came. So come on, all my brothers, join along. It doesn't matter if you've done right or wrong. No, you need the tide to stay strong. Let the pain to help you find your soul. Gotta feed my soul and mind and gotta feed my soul and mind and gotta feed my soul and mind and I don't know why but it works. Gotta feed my soul and mind and gotta feed my soul and mind and gotta feed my soul and mind and I don't know why but it works. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, 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 yeah, yeah, whoa, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, get yourself on a plane. Single, married, just looking to change. Uman Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine. In the end, you'll be glad you came. So come on, all my brothers, join along. It doesn't matter if you've done right or wrong. You know you need the time to stay strong. Let the baby help you find your song.
Wow, Ife. That was great. That was great. I was rocking out there. Probably didn't notice because you're too entranced in the music, but I was rocking out. That was great, man.
It's like a bit emotional right now because I mean I know that like al pi derech hateva, there's so many negative fallouts from this whole COVID situation, and so I don't want to like. I mean, in a lot of people's eyes, this would be like a relatively minor one, but for people that go to Rabbi Nachman for Uman, the idea that we won't be there, that potentially this Rosh Hashanah is kind of a tough pill to swallow. So
Right.
that that song was a bit of a tefillah that we should be zeichet to get back there.
So the Shem. Well, this was fun, man. This was a load of fun. I'm really happy you came on my show. And I'm happy you gave us a little concert. So my question is, before we end off, how can people find you? You're on Spotify. I know that. If you look on Spotify, you can search Benoni. You're on Spotify. You're also on YouTube. How do people get in touch with you if they wanna book you for a gig? Do you do gigs?
This is a gig-ish.
Ish. That's true.
I'm happy to do gigs of all sizes and proportions. You could reach me. I mean, like my YouTube channel is, I think, Beinoni Official, and then it's Facebook/Beinoni Official. And I guess like I'm pretty active on Facebook. You could also, Shmuel Stenge, or just Google Beinoni music, and something will come up. Or just, send a carrier pigeon. Like Morse code, whatever. We're
all right. Cool.
It's COVID-19, man. We'll take any get that we can. We'll take any gig that we can get.
Bezrat Hashem. So what's anything holding in the future? What's going on with you? Any new songs in the works? Anything else? Or you're just kind of laying low?
I'm always writing, and I don't really know what's going to go from here. I just I just love playing music, and hopefully I know that I will be putting out more music sometime in the future. I can't exactly say when, and I've been working on putting together some sort of EP launch for a while, and there's always kind of like financial for any artist, independent artist, especially one with 5 kids living in Israel in Beit Shemesh. There's going to be financial considerations there, so.
We should start an indie label for people who have 5 kids or more who are living in Israel looking to make a buck selling music.
Yeah, I'd be all in on that. I'd sign. Show me the dotted line. I'll sign on that. If there's any billionaires out there that love controversial songs about Uman.
Well, there you go. There you go, man. Nah, this is cool. Well, Shmuel, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a real pleasure, and you should continue to have tremendous. Yeah, we finally did it. We've been talking about this for a while. We finally sat down and did it. Baruch Hashem. And, you should have tremendous hatzlacha with everything you're doing in the future. Continue making music. Continue producing good music. Doing little jams wherever you can. And just sharing the light of Benoni. It was a real pleasure having you, my friend.
Amen. Thank you.
Shkaya. You've just listened to another wonderful episode of GoSimcha the podcast. For more news, updates, and information on our next episode, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at GoSimcha Live, and don't forget to check out the show notes and videos on www.gosimcha.com along with zeradio.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, Go Simcha!